the deaf girl who sat at the back of the courtroom. My name is Chisom Emenike, and if anyone tells you they were the one who first noticed what Ngozi did that day in court, they are lying. I saw it with my own eyes. I, Chisom, son of Emenike, the basket weaver of Umola village. Now let me tell you what happened. This story begins not in the courtroom, but many years ago, under the mango tree beside our village square, the same tree where we used to gather for evening tales after supper. That was where I first saw little Ngozi. She must have been around 5 then. She never joined the other children in our games. She never spoke. And when we laughed or shouted, she only blinked or looked away, like the noise hurt her. We didn't understand it then. We just called her Ngozi, the quiet one. Some children were cruel, clapping behind her back, waving their hands near her ears to test if she could hear. When she didn't react, they would laugh and run off. I was one of the few who didn't mock her, not because I was kind, but because my late uncle, who had gone to school in Suka, once told me about something called deafness. I didn't fully understand it, but I remembered her mother, Mama Chinai, was a strong woman. After her husband died from a snake bite in the forest, she raised Ngozi alone. She made soap from palm oil and sold it in the market. People pitied her. They would say, "Ehye, that child will never amount to anything. No. She cannot hear, she cannot speak. What future does she have?" But Mama Chine never gave up on her. Every morning, before the cock crowed, you'd see the two of them walking to a small school, 2 hills away, a school that welcomed children with special needs. That school was her mother's miracle. When Ngozi turned 10, she began to write. Then she began to sign, with her hands dancing in the air like a drummer's sticks. I couldn't understand a thing, but the way her face lit up when she did it, it was as if her silence had finally found a voice. Still, many people in Umwala didn't know this. To them, she was just that deaf girl who watched everything but said nothing. Now, fast forward to the day, everything changed. It was a Tuesday during the Harmattan season, the kind that dries your lips till they crack. Our community courtroom, just a square cement building beside the town hall, was filled with villagers that morning. You see, a land dispute had been dragging on for months. 2 families, the Emba family and the Obies family, had gone to war over 3 plots of cassava land near the river. That land had been passed down generations. The case had become so hot, even people from neighboring villages came to watch.
The courtroom wasn't grand, just wooden benches, a raised platform for the judge, and dusty, louvered windows that didn't always close. But when Chief Justice Odogu entered, everyone stood. I was seated near the front. Behind me, traders, elders, and gossipers filled every row. And at the very back, as always, sat Ngozi. Yes, she had become something of a fixture in our court. Nobody knew why she came. She never spoke, never signed. She just sat at the back, her eyes moving from face to face, watching. Some said she liked the drama. Others said she was lonely. Me, I believe she was learning something none of us understood. Now this was the last hearing in the case. Both families had brought witnesses, even old love letters and land tax receipts. But that morning, something happened. One of the Obezi sons, a boy named Ifanyi, testified that his grandfather had planted mango trees on the land in question. But when asked about it, he said something strange. He claimed he had seen his grandfather do it with his own eyes, but we all knew his grandfather died before Ifanyi was even born. People began to murmur. Even the judge looked suspicious, but there was no proof to catch the lie. That was when it happened. From the back of the courtroom, a hand slowly rose. It was Ngozi. Everyone turned. I was there. I saw it. At first we thought maybe she was waving to someone, but then she stood calmly, silently, and began signing. Her hands moved like flowing water. At first, nobody understood. The judge frowned, and Ngozi's mother, who had quietly taken a seat near the window, stood up and interpreted. "My daughter says Ifanai is lying," she said clearly. "She has been attending these hearings, and on the day Ifanai claimed to have seen his grandfather plant those trees, he told someone outside the court something different." The court buzzed. "Who did he tell?" the judge asked. Ngozi signed again. Her mother translated. "She says Ifanai was speaking to another boy outside the courtroom after the second hearing. He said, 'I'll just say I saw it myself. Who will know?' She was sitting on a step nearby, drawing in her notebook." Now people started whispering. The other boy was called in. He was just 16 and shaking like a leaf. He tried to deny it at first, but under pressure, and maybe from guilt, he confessed. "Yes," he said, "Ifanai told me to lie for him. I didn't think anyone would hear." The courtroom was silent. Chief Justice Odogu removed his glasses slowly and looked straight at Ngozi.
"This girl," he said, "has been watching us this whole time. Like an angel with no voice, and yet today she has spoken louder than all of us." He banged the gavel. The case was dismissed. The land returned to the rightful owners, the Umbas. I walked out of that courtroom stunned. We all did. People kept looking at Ngozi as if seeing her for the first time. She wasn't just the deaf girl anymore. She was the girl who remembered what no one else did. The girl who spoke through silence. From that day, her life changed. The judge invited her to attend more hearings, this time with a notebook and pen. A woman from the Ministry of Justice in Akka came down to meet her. Within weeks, arrangements were made for Ngozi to begin training as a court interpreter, not for words, but for truth. As for the villagers who once mocked her, now they send their children to her for help with reading and writing. Even I, Chisom, who once thought nothing important ever happened in dusty old Umwala, now tell her story to my sons at night under the same mango tree. I say, listen, watch, don't just talk, because sometimes the one who says nothing sees everything. And that, my friend, is how a deaf girl at the back of a broken courtroom changed the way our village understood justice.